home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still lights of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live. Oh.
I'm talking about Shabaka going crazy. People going crazy in them motherfuckers. Run that shit back, man.
But it means nothing. Nothing. Got a woman on the bed. Man made the car. Carry the heavy load. Man made the electrolyte to keep us out of the dark. Man made the boat for the water like the 7-no-meter. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girl and a baby boy. Make them happy because man make them sorry. But after man make everything we can, do you know that man makes money? To buy from other men. This is a man's world.
family, greetings, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. This is Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase, and we are joined with Shabaka Sankoria, of course, of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, and we are joined with our sister, who we haven't seen in a while, Sister Hestepsu. Greetings, sister from the Mile High Income City, and greetings, Shabaka. You're in the Sim City. How you been this morning?
Good, excellent. Blessed.
Good. And on this season 10, episode 26, Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase, we'll be discussing several topics. The first one is the anti-ice protests that are going on in L.A. and other cities, such as Denver, Colorado, New York City, Seattle, Washington, Washington, D.C.,
Chicago,
others. So, Shabaka, what are your before I play the clips?
Okay. Well, my thoughts is this: as I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. Start the impeachment. Okay. Start the impeachment. Start the impeachment. Hey, twin, what's happening with you? Okay, and we got excessive heat warning today here in Las Vegas. It's going to be about a good 110 degrees today, and what have you. I might decide to go out there and get some of this more melanated sunlight, for our people, because we are the children of the sun. And then to you dump supporters, Trump supporters, Nixon supporters, what have you, come out here and sit out here with me in the sun today. You know what I'm saying? Because I would take great pleasure watching you burn, baby, burn. Okay, Trump belongs in jail, okay, is because one thing that was unprecedented, from what I understand, is that the United States Senator from California who went to go confront Trump and his cronies, they smashed him, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, they beat him down and hooked and booked him and all that. And I think that's illegal. Now, on my former Congresswoman, Maxine Waters, Maxine, you did a great job, ma'am. You're up in your 90s. You need to go in there and retire, sister. You fought a good fight. You know what I'm saying? Which she did, although I didn't agree totally with everything that she did, but I appreciate the efforts that she tried to make, considering of what we have, what we're working with. You see what I'm saying?
As Shabaka just alluded to, we're going to be talking about Senator Padilla Jumped.
Okay, Brother Che.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
StreamYard must be out.
Brother Che, he does.
Can you hear me, Shabaka?
Oh, yeah. Well, we got an excessive heat. Yes, sir. We got an excessive heat warning out here today. It's 8:10 in the morning here, and it's already 85 degrees. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be inside all day today.
We're expecting 90 in the Mile High Income City.
Oh man, you all up there in cold weather, man.
Cold weather. Shit, if we hit 110, Shabaka, all the power would go out. The highest temperature we had was 105, and the last time that happened was in 2017, or no, actually in 2020, and all the power went out.
Because they playing games with these power grids as well too, as you know, and as we have stated before, they got some shenanigans on Twin Pyramid. That's what we're telling them. Tell them to leave their sunscreens at home because we're all the same, right? Okay, so leave your sunscreen at home because we're all the same. You know what I mean? And what happened?
We got Senator Padilla jumped by ICE. Then Black people need to continue to mind our own FBA business in regards to these anti-ice protests. And if we have time, YouTube content creator shoots Blacc Content Creator and his wife in Las Vegas.
Wait a minute. Yeah, that there was a story that I was telling you about it. And this here happened a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Yeah, because I noticed when I drove down Las Vegas Boulevard yesterday, right? I noticed that in front of the Bellagio Also, too, in front of the other one across the street, I think it was that hotel named after you, Paris.
Yeah,
I didn't
Paris.
see no content creators out there, and they had the Las Vegas Police Department having their cars over there. So I guess, you know, they're saying it's off limits, you know, to do content creation. So therefore, what I'm going to be doing, you know, in this cool apartment today, because I'm getting ready to burn up all that air conditioning. You know what I'm saying? I pay too much for this cracker box anyway. So, you know, I'm going to use the air conditioning. So, you know, I got the apartment, you know, all the blinds is closed, it's cool in here. And like I said, there's every bit, man, of about 86 degrees outside right now. And it's not even 8:30 yet. And by the way, keep in mind, people, it is Friday the 13th, you know, if that means anything to anybody. So me personally, just stay close at home, you know, because ain't no type of shenanigans what might be going on out there today on Friday the 13th. And they'll just say, oh, it's bad luck today, you know. So be sure to check your bank accounts. Be sure to check your computer hookups, you know what I'm saying? Because I do not put nothing past this regime.
Well, Shabaka, we just went from one regime to another. This one is just more blatant.
And I do mean nothing, you know.
Oh, Shabaka.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Mac 285. That's right. Burn, baby, burn. That's right, Mac 285. You shot a battle cry from all the way from 1965. Not that was 60 years ago. 60 years ago in August of 1965 when you had the Watts riots. And that's what the DJ used to say on the local black radio station in L.A. at the time called KGFJ. Say, burn, baby, burn. And I believe dude's name was the Magnificent Montague. And they fired dude, saying that he making that statement inside the Watts riot. No, the one that started the Watts riot, from what I understand, was the California Highway Patrol. When they jumped on Marquette Fry, who was drunk driving, and Marquette Fry said to him, hey, my mama's house is only like four doors down the way, no more than a block. Could somebody please take my car to my mother's house? Because Marquette Fry knew he was going. So the highway patrolman hit Mr. Fry with a nightstick. And according to Mr. Fry, he says when that highway patrolman hit him with that nightstick, he dropped him, and it was on.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Shabaka?
Oh, yes, sir. I hear you loud and clear. I see our sister there out of Colorado. I see you got Lisa Cabrera up there and what have you. And you have the topic list.
Yeah, she's going to put us up on the L.A. Anti-Ice Protests that continue in California.
Okay, the cool dudes of L.A. Okay.
Yes.
Cool dudes. Yeah.
Horseback with canes in their hands, and I want y'all to watch what they do with these canes in their hands. It's history repeating itself. All right,
and the nightstick glides gracefully upside your head,
and we'll get started. But y'all look for it. You'll notice. I mean, everybody know what a horse look like, so just notice what they got in their hands and how they are coming at the crowd with these long canes that they have in their hands.
The Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West.
All right, family. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. And shalom to everybody in the chat.
May peace be upon you too as well, Lisa Cabrera.
Thank you. Okay. Here we go, family.
So she's going to play some footage of
And there's the ghetto bird up in the air.
I gotta
recognize the sound.
So the copyright disclaimer under section fair use, copyright disclaimer under section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use purposes, criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. All right, here we go. So as you can see, they back.
And that there's LAPD's mounted police officers. And a nightstick glides gracefully upside your head. Ice rated car wash in La Puente, which is on the outskirts of Los Angeles. It's still LA County.
Hoy, ¿sabes qué? Ahí hay los venes para subir a la gente, esos venes blancos.
Yep. All right, let me turn this idiot box off so I don't have any background noise. And that is the air conditioner.
I just try to help the workers by questioning the officers and filming.
Well, it's just sad, ladies and gentlemen, you know, as we get this YouTube to come on in the meantime, that all of this is hypocrisy.
I'm Mark Van Cleve, and I'm a video journalist with the Associated Press. I'm here in Los Angeles covering the reaction to President Trump's escalation in immigration enforcement. For the past 5 days, hundreds of protesters have been flooding the streets around downtown, demanding an end to the crackdown.
I son of LA! I son of LA! I son of LA!
When you're in the crowd, you can really see the pain and anger on people's faces. For many folks, these are their friends, their neighbors, their loved ones that are now being targeted for deportation by ICE.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
You'll have these scenes where protesters will face off in the street with police carrying crowd control.
That is the Los Angeles Police Department right there, people.
Officers with Hispanic last names and ask them what their abuelas, what their grandmothers would say about them standing on the opposite side of the protest line. The confrontations really tend to become more hostile when police use crowd control munitions to push protesters away from the federal building and City Hall.
And that there's the California Highway
The mayor
Patrol,
imposed an
California State
downtown
Police,
area, which has seen sporadic looting late at night. Despite
City
a handful
Hall,
of arrests for violent actions, most have been for failure
police
to disperse
brutality.
or violations of that curfew. But protesters are still gathered at the federal building, many carrying American flags, Mexican flags, and those of other South and Central American countries, all demanding an end to the deportations.
Now, keep in mind, Black family, if that was us, the National Guard would be discharging rounds. North Broadway. Yeah, I'm very familiar with it.
Tear gas.
Bueno, ya empezaron los gases lacrimógenos. Los balazos aquí, la gente está esperando que llegue miembros de la Marina. En estos momentos está la Guardia Nacional, pero no están muy contentos con los manifestantes que han empezado a llegar aquí al lugar, que son pocos. Hasta el momento se han visto pacíficos. Pero
Okay,
bueno,
Sister Hesepsi, could you interpret what she's saying?
en alerta.
He's talking about how what's going on with the riots and why they're reacting the way that they're reacting because of the ICE raids, and basically how it started off as a peaceful protest, but then it turned into violence because you know how the LAPD do down there.
What happened?
Oh yeah, well, the Los
For real?
Angeles Police Department, ma'am, in my opinion, and I'm saying this here, and I'm taking responsibility for this comment. The
How far
LAPD
is Ventura
a
County
terrorist
from here?
organization.
Hmm. Well, you know, can I make a response, or is it
Yeah, go
you want me to
ahead.
wait?
How is it that you guys are out of your jurisdiction?
Go ahead, Sister Hissepsu.
Yeah, what I was going to say was that I wanted to respond to what she had said because she said it first started off as a peaceful protest. You know, but then she was talking about what was going on during the protests and all that. And then she was saying how it turned into a violent protest when LAPD had came along. Well, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, this country does not belong to white people. They divided and conquered a country that did not belong to this country at one time was Mexico and India, the original Indians.
Yeah,
From pitch black
yes,
to the
ma'am.
lightest. And they got a lot of nerve talking about they need to go back. The real immigration is them. They're the real immigrators because they belong in Europe. They came from Europe. This is not their country. And they got a lot of nerve telling us we got to go back to Africa. We got to do this. We got to do that. They need to go back to Mexico. No, you need to go back to your own country. And so what they're getting is a big payback. You know, like brother was saying, if it was us, you know, it would have been different, a whole tightly different story. But it's not us. But even still, the Mexican Americans, they still have that a little bit of our original blood. So they don't play either when it comes to this type of stuff. Because how are you going to tell them to go back to their own country when this country belongs to them in the first place? Period, point blank. So all these things is a karma from God.
Yeah.
And they get exactly what they deserve.
Well, they had it for 7 years. The Spanish colonized it. Prior to that, it was Aboriginal land. So yeah, I agree with you to a certain extent.
But the Americans were not white. I don't care what nobody. The Americans were not white. The Americans
they were
the like you said, the Aboriginal people. And the Mexicans, if you study about the word the word Mexican by itself comes from the word mestizo. They're half native and a mixture of white for the people that would from the white man that raped the woman during the Native American War.
Right.
So that's where the word Mexican comes from because they are part of the original people. You know, they're just mixed and they're a little bit lighter. So the white Americans have no right to tell them to go home. I don't care what nobody said. That's my point on taking off on that.
Okay. All right. And now, sister, if I may enhance since this is Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced with Grand Rising, if I can enhance on what you're saying, you just brought back a memory, ma'am, when I was at Los Angeles City College and I did study a course called The History of Latin America and the mestizos, those, who probably had their bloodlines violated, by the Europeans. You see what I mean? Okay, because you have to keep in mind that the act of rape is an act wrong within itself, like child molestation. You see what I mean? Okay, and I would debate with any of these coons, yassa bosses, and you know me, Brother Paris, you know what I'm saying? I will debate with them. You see what I mean? And then I've been getting a lot of hate mail in my inbox on social media. I'm not going to say on which platform, but keep those cards and letters coming, folks, is because the only thing you telling me is that I'm right. Your anger and your hatred of me tells me that you don't like this truth of what I'm telling you. And guess what? Like Tommy Lee Jones said in The Fugitive, when old boy says I didn't kill my wife, Tommy Lee Jones says, I don't care. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but here's the thing. They were compensated for land that they lost during the war. They got $25 million.
Oh. And
then can I comment on that? Because I have a little bit of Native Americans and a little bit of Latin in my family. and in my blood. So that's why I speak Spanish so well. But I want to comment on that because can no money take a replacement for slavery and raping women and taking over a country that never belonged to them? $25 million they go kick it. What they need to do is go back to their own country because they've been causing havoc since they've been here.
Yeah, I agree with you. But here's the thing.
Okay.
They didn't get no freedom until a black man by the name of Vicente Guerrero ended slavery in Mexico. And
that was 1829.
Correct. And the Blanco mestizos killed him.
Right. And then also too, Brother Paris, to prove your point even further, is that you've seen it up in these file footage where I was speaking to you offline about Pico House.
Yep.
Okay, which is a historical landmark. Okay, now the thing is, you have to understand is that when you look at the architecture, okay, of some of Latin America, that came from hey, Black Lightning. Okay, thank you for joining us, brother. Okay, that day came from the Moors. You see,
I sent you the link. It should be in your email.
Okay, that day came from the Moors.
It did come from the Moors.
Yes.
And that's how the Moors temple started.
Yeah, exactly. And then too,
on the ships with the conquistadors, that's how they even found out that there was even a land over here. Because they already the Moors had already been over here. Why we always get into it with Shabaka, because we always tell him we were already here. They were already black.
Well, I stand on my square on that there, Brother Che. I stand on my square. It's because I got tons of books here. I got to do some more reading because, you know, I cite my source from Lerone Bennett, you know, who is a major contributor to Ebony Magazine and what have you. They say, just like when I was reading material about the British, about how, and keep in mind, people, now here's something astronomical. They got over 300,000 of us over here, man, you know what I'm saying, in a little bit of time. So then they had used lies, deceit.
Wait, hold on, Shabaka. Let's break that down because we really got to dissect that real quick. So you said they got 300,000 of us over here from the time.
Okay, let me go ahead. Okay, I'm gonna get the book. Okay, go ahead.
From 1619 to 1865, but then in 1865 they said there was 4 million of us. That's not adding up. The math ain't mathing. This is why we said there was already black Aboriginal people here before any kind of slave ship even arrived here. And what they ended up doing was there was a man by the name of Walker Plecker, and he reclassified the black Aboriginal people that were already here as black, Negro, and colored.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to ask you to take that up with Mr. Bennett. Because I'm trying to get Mr. Bennett's book right now. Hold on, Brother Paris. Just hold on. I'm not doubting what you're saying. Is that I do my research from an Afrocentric perspective. Now, hold on, people. All right, now, wait a minute. Dag nabbit. All right, here we go. Okay. Now, these are the words of Lerone Bennett, okay? Not me. Once again, this is Lerone Bennett. May he rest in power. He was a major contributor to Ebony Magazine, The Jet, and what have you. By the end of the 15th century, Portugal's monopoly in Africa was being challenged by the Dutch, which is stinky bird, the English, the French, the Swedes, and the Danes. And if I got my geography correct, wouldn't that there be Denmark where those filthy savages called the Vikings came from? And the Prussians established a slave trading post of their own, while the Portuguese were the first to enter the slave trade on a massive scale. The British became the innovators of the trade and made it into a highly specialized industry.
Yeah, you're talking about the Dutch Indian Company, Shabaka, which
Okay, all right. Now, in 1713,
empire because it was
hey,
so
crew.
bad.
Okay, so now these ain't my words. This is Lerone Bennett. Okay, in 1713, the British acquired the coveted Ascencio, and Liverpool soon became the center of the British slave trade. The profits from buying and selling black human beings were so enormous, up to 50% on the initial investment, that even small tradesmen such as ropers, candle makers, barbers formed syndicates through which they pooled their savings in order to send ships to Africa. Okay, now keep in mind, Brother Che, we might could do that on a future episode where I had the logs of the slave ships. Okay, it has been
I have the
it
logs.
has been recorded.
I have the logs of the voyages to the Americas and the voyages to Africa and everywhere in between.
Okay.
And crew just put it in the chat as well.
Okay, all righty. They sent as many from America as they brought to America. Well, that's open for debate, crew. Okay, and let's see here. Okay, so in other words, is that these Europeans, pooled their resources. Okay, so with that, there was probably the beginning of what they would call a corporation. It has been recorded that ships sailing from Liverpool alone, repeat, Liverpool alone sold 303,737 slaves between 1783 and 1793. Now, keep in mind, they didn't have modern technology back then as they did now, so that there was quite enormous right there in the 10-year period. Their net profit during that period was 3 million pounds sterling. Now, like the Portuguese and the Dutch, the British established a system of slave bases on the west coast of Africa. There were several methods of obtaining slaves. One method was the purchasing of POWs, okay? In time, Europeans became skilled in promoting enmity between quote-unquote tribes, even to the point of aiding one of the warring parties by supplying them with, listen people, firearms. Slave agents would assist the European, and Arab slavers in chaining their captive men, women, and children together in the coffles. And of course, we know what the coffles was. Then herding them to the coast. There they would be prepared for overseas shipment and one of the many receiving forts. Some slavers obtained their merchandise by organizing raiding parties. Others realized their objective by using a combination of, here we go, now this is the Europeans' nature, trickery, bribes, and whiskey and violence. Okay. The bulk of the slaves were captured within a narrow 200-mile wide, 3,000-mile long strip of coastal land that stretched from the Senegal River to the southern border of what is now Angola. And of course, as we all know, that's where Queen Nzinga had put up her resistance for all her adult life. You see what I mean? Because the Portuguese went over there with their foul, funky, stinking, nasty asses telling Her Majesty, you are now a colony of Portugal. And she says, you care to repeat that? So they repeated themselves, and then it was pow, ping, oops upside the head, where she fought them off for 50 years. So let's keep that in mind. Yes, hey. Now, this is not my opinion. That's Lerone Bennett, a noted scholar. You see what I'm saying? I just read the work.
Landed, Shabaka. He is not telling you where those slaves were transported to. It doesn't say in his book transported to. But we got the logs showing where they were transported to. Majority of the ones that came from Matamba, they ended up in Brazil. They didn't end up in what is the United States of America. They didn't end up in what is now America. They ended up in South America. And the slave trade has been taught in reverse because they took Black Aboriginal people over to Europe as well. And there's a whole book on it by what is his damn Kwani. He was a Black Aboriginal who was taken from I believe Virginia, and brought over to Europe, and he wrote a whole book on. There was a whole book written about it. Now, what Crew was saying is,
okay, now we got a missing link right there. Okay,
I'm the missing link. What's up, y'all? Black Power.
Black Power.
Always like, okay. Crew, Nzinga was a woman, not a man. Okay. All right. And then on top of that,
well, she was the middle woman.
No,
she was the middle woman.
She was a woman. Okay. And first of all, okay. Second of all,
they couldn't.
These homosexual, uncleaned, non-bathing, funky individuals, okay, because Brother Che, you had made comments on that they considered the Europeans, they considered it a sin to wash they funky, nasty behinds, okay?
Yes, Shabaka, that is all true, but that's not what we're talking about. What he's talking about is the African rulers, because there were no countries then, there were kingdoms. The African, those kingdoms played a part in the slave trade.
And they were captured as slaves too, as the slave trade grew. And when you look at the case of Sin Q, that proves that point right there. Why would the king sell his own son into slavery? It don't add up, homie.
The reason why it don't add up.
However, let us move on.
The slavers were capturing prisoners of war, meaning outside.
Right. And once they filled up the bottom of that boat, they said, you know what? We got room for about another 200 or 300. So let's take them as well too. Now, another thing that they don't do, and I think Dr. Wilson has went on this, they never want to document of how many of our people on the continent had tried to raid those ships to free their loved ones. You see what I'm saying? Like, look at Renee Chirac of France. Should I read what Renee Chirac said of France?
That doesn't even make any sense what you're saying, though. Why would they try to save? Why would it be that?
No. Whoa.
They were prisoners of war.
I'm going to quote the words of Renee Chirac, the former president of France. Okay.
Up Europe. We understand that the slave trade built up Europe. We understand that in the Western Empire. We understand that, Shabaka, but that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is
I just want to read
that the kings and queens of those kingdoms played in the slave trade. And the information we have Shabaka, since Lerone Bennett wrote his book. This is what Crew's saying. We have new information updated from when Lerone.
They were deceived, brother. They got their heads bumped.
Shabaka, we can't keep making excuses for it.
No, they got their heads bumped.
Here
we go.
Well, but they still.
No, I'm just going to read the words of Renee Chirac. Okay, please let me read these words of Renee Chirac, please. These are the words of Jacques René Chirac, the former president of France. Now, let's go over this. We bled Africa for 4.5 centuries. We looted their raw materials. Then we told lies that the Africans are good for nothing. In the name of religion, we destroyed their culture. And after being made rich at their expense, we now steal their brains through miseducation and propaganda to prevent them from enacting black retribution against us. Now, on that, you have to argue with him on that. I'm just reading the material, brother.
Material, though. We have updated material now.
Hey, can I add something to that?
70s.
Okay, but first, hold on, Lightning. I want to respond to Crew right now.
I might not be able to talk because I'm on the plantation, but all right, go ahead.
Okay. All right, but let me say this here. Just one sentence. I'm going to respond to Crew here. Okay, our Crew had brought down his comment, and I can't comment on it. Okay, okay. Columbus was a drunk. Okay, number one, the fool thought that he was going east when he was actually going west. So Columbus was a drunk. You say so. He don't count. See, I don't listen to no drunk.
Shabaka, stop it. Look, he wouldn't have found his way over here if it wasn't for the Moors. The Moors already had the maps on how to get over here. So that's a lie when they say that he was lost.
So he went and stole it. Okay.
He already knew.
He went and stole the material. Brother, he went and stole it, man. See, keep in mind, Black family, okay, these Europeans were savages, okay? They stunk. They did not believe in bathing. Black woman gave the world the concept of feminine hygiene.
Yes, Shabaka, but that's the right in the point. The point is they already knew how to get over here because the Moors had already had the maps. Remember, Shabaka, the Moors had conquered Spain, Portugal, all of that for 700, 800
Southern
years.
Europe. Yes, Southern Europe. But see, but the point is this, and I want to make this here perfectly clear. Europeans are garbage. They stink. They're unclean. He's not our brother.
Never said he was our brother. Look, he said Dodge's subject Nzinga didn't want to capture slaves. She wanted to be a distributor. You said they captured each other, selling each other.
And he is wrong. And because for the simple fact is, then why does she fight all her adult life to get rid of those savages? Riddle me that.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
history about Nzinga was she was fighting off the Portuguese because
she was what?
Fighting off the Portuguese. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
Because the Portuguese,
because what had happened was
came up in there and was starting some stuff with her. They started the fight. She was at peace until they came, and so what she did was she spent her whole life fighting back and fighting out of the country and away from her. You know, and she wasn't a distributor of slaves. If you read your history, go into a book. It talks about it. It says that she what she was doing was like every African was back in the day was fighting off the white man from coming and destroying their countries.
Right.
That's the true history of it, and that's why she's popular.
Yes, ma'am. Now, Cruz says, explain all the African nations apologizing for the simple fact what they should be apologizing for is for allowing themselves to be bullshitted, listening to these stinking, non-bathing, alcoholic, license-faced creatures. Don't get me started. My blood pressure going up and what have you.
And we don't want
explain that.
We don't want to.
Shabaka, you don't explain anything. We're trying to explain to you, but you don't want to hear it. Look.
No, because it's bullshit, brother. That's why. Okay, and I'm not going for it.
Shabaka, you say.
I know what y'all gonna do. Y'all gonna call on me as soon as I get a phone call, right? I'm kind of agreeing with Shabaka. Shabaka, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud.
Shabaka, check this out. Them slave ships they talking about, they had us lined up like on top of each other damn near. My instincts tell me those were babies. The ones that they did steal from Africa and other coastal waterways, they was babies. They wasn't grown-ups because, first of all, you couldn't handle 100 Africans on a ship and expect to live through that voyage. They was babies. It's like a reset. You know what I mean? They probably killed off all their enemies and sold the babies to the colonizer. But that's just my theory about it. Black powerful. Just want to throw that in before I get a phone call, y'all. Black power.
Now, but keep in mind is that Sin Q, when he led the rebellion, right? Okay. And then what had happened was when they took his case to the United States Supreme Court, if you ever saw the film Amistad, and House nigger Morgan Freeman and Mr. Freeman, you are a punk. I do not like you, and you are welcome to call upon this platform as well, too. I don't dig you. He played a house nigger role, excuse my saying, when they went to the U.S. Supreme Court. And Matthew McConaughey, I believe, who had stated and made a statement to the house nigger Morgan Freeman, well, these ones who were born here, we don't have to worry about them. It's because, you know, we already got them brainwashed and indoctrinated, okay? But Sin Q was born free. Plus, he was the king's son. So that's why he rose up. So the U.S. Supreme Court had said, well, yeah, they have a right to go back to Africa, but these Negroes that we have already right here, they are our property, they're chattel, we got them brain dead, we got them yassa boss, and, you know, being homie kind of niggas. You see what I'm saying? So we're happy with them. And Uncle Sambo Jackson, the same thing goes for you, because that was the most ridiculous thing that I ever saw was Uncle Sambo up there buck dancing. Just like that role he played in Django. Now, keep in mind that Samuel L. Jackson is an established actor, okay? So what I mean by that is in Hollywood, when you reach a certain plateau in your career, you could buy and choose, well, you could choose, you know, the roles you want to play, as opposed to saying, well, hey, man, play this part right here, you know, we'll build up your career and all this old type of stuff, because growing up in L.A., you see what I'm saying? I've been approached to do walk-ons on Hollywood Boulevard and stuff like that. First thing I asked, well, how much are you paying me? Well, sir, we can't pay you, but we'll give you exposure. Man, if you don't get that garbage about my face, man, I will severely hurt you. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I am making sense, crew. Now, if you don't like the sense that I'm making, brother, that's something within, okay, on your part, okay? But I refuse to sit up here to love these crackers. You see what I'm saying? Is because it's going to be up to about 110 today, and I just might get in my car and drive down Las Vegas Boulevard to watch them burn in the sun. I yield.
Shabaka, nobody's asking you to love no crackers. We're literally asking you, why would these African nations apologize if they didn't have no role in the slave trade? That's what I'm always asking. Look, why are these African nations apologizing
for allowing themselves to be having their heads bumped, as we say? Now, let's look at our man over there, Ibrahim Traore and Thomas Sankara. Okay, when they said that we're taking control of our gold, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, no, well, you can shake your head all you want, crew, and I'm just quoting, man, because I've been on this planet longer than you. So when I transition, when I leave my memoirs, take what is useful, leave what is useless, because see, I will be with the Almighty. You dig?
Useless. That's what we're trying to tell you. We're leaving what is useless.
Okay, well, sir, if you want to sit up here and if you want to love your colonizer, that's on you, brother. That's on you.
How is that?
That's on you.
About the Pan-Africanism. We're supposed to be the original people everywhere on the planet. But somehow, some way, we're not the original people here in America. It makes no sense.
Okay, well, somehow, some way, which I don't understand, is that on the continent of North America, 80% of this place is snow, and I fail to see how we survived in snow, because I've been to your Denver, Colorado at 15 degrees below zero. I can't live in that. That was crazy. But you did tell me to come in April and not March. That you did tell me, Brother Che. I'll give you that.
Yes, you were warned, and the climate wasn't always the same. The climate was
and then up there, car had all the snow on it, man, and then they sent me through your fast track and sent me a bill all the way out here to Las Vegas, Nevada, got me for $17. And if you don't pay the fast track bill, we'll pull your registration in the state of Nevada, the crooks.
Okay, Shabaka.
Literally, that's highway robbery.
If we are always saying that we circumnavigated the globe before a Caucasoid came out of any cave, right? Isn't that
okay, now let me see here. I got some more material. Wait a minute. I'm saying I got some more material because there was a series of books that I lost called Before the Mayflower by Lerone Bennett.
Everything's been updated. That's old material. It's like when you have a computer and you got to upgrade the computer. We've updated the information.
Okay. Okay, but who is this updated information coming from? Is it Caucasoids?
No, it's coming from our own scholars.
Or is it us?
It's coming from our own scholars.
Which
I would like to answer the question real quick, if I can intrude for a second. The question was, why are the Africans apologizing? Can you elaborate a little bit? Apologizing
for their role in the slave trade.
Okay, well,
Okay, if anything,
I can.
they should be apologizing for allowing themselves to have their heads bumped. They got sold a bill of goods by these stinking savages.
Bucket, this is my
They
Well,
were
what
sold
I
a
was
bill
going
of
to say
goods.
about that is that the way that I was
fun.
taught about slavery was that the way that slavery began was a trader who went to Africa, made an interpretation that they received gold for their labor more than they were earning in their own country. So what they were doing was trade a fake trade and commerce deal. And instead of doing the correct trade and commerce deal of giving them gold, they gave them jack. They didn't give them nothing. They brought them over here from our country, just like they went. They have a brain now. Don't get me wrong. They know how to get in a boat and travel and look for a country and know how to get down there correctly. But they went to the wrong country, which is Africa, and they went there and they enslaved our people. And that the way they did it was through deceit, lies, and a fake
Right,
friendship,
exactly,
trade, and
exactly.
commerce deal. And that's how they did it. And when they
Precisely.
did that,
Give them
the
too much credit.
Africans that found out about it, they didn't find out about it until years later because they, like, some of them didn't even know until they moved over here recently that we had been enslaved. And so maybe they felt a guilt because of they couldn't help their own people because they didn't know. It wasn't in their history books. They didn't know that we were here. And so when they found out that Black people in America and that we were here were enslaved, I've talked to people from Africa, they felt guilty because there was nothing they could do about it because they were not here at that moment to help. So maybe
Okay,
that's
now,
why they apologize. Maybe that's where the apologies come from. And then again, I agree with Shabaka. Maybe they were bumped in the head and they didn't know. You
No,
see
they
what I'm saying?
exactly.
Not all of them did know. Brother, not all of them did know. Not all of them in Africa knew that we were being enslaved at the times that we were being enslaved because they didn't know that we had left.
But it's the European is not all knowing, all seeing, all hearing, all that. The European
No, he's a
God,
savage.
God is. So how would they have known if they weren't God and couldn't see in the future and see, oh well, they're going to be some slaves from Africa. We're not going to see them being taken away. They didn't see all that coming. They didn't know.
No, they
It's the
knew.
book.
Here's the
How
difference.
would they have known? How would they have known?
They knew because they were already practicing. No, hold on. They were already practicing a form of slavery on the continent. We forget about the trans-Saharan slave trade that was going on prior to the transatlantic slave trade. They knew. This is why they said they sold their prisoners of war. They had prisoners of war that they sold into slavery. They
So
thought it
you're
was
saying that every African knew that there was slavery going on from
African.
Africa to America
The
and did nothing
rulers,
about it. I don't think every African knew that, brother. I have to disagree with you
not
on
every.
that.
I didn't say every African. I'm talking about the rulers of these kingdoms because they weren't even countries; they were kingdoms. They knew because they had a form of slavery already going on. It wasn't this brutalization that the European was doing, but they had a form of slavery going on. They had prisoners of war. The prisoners
Okay,
of
but
war.
brother, check.
Hold on, Shabaka, I'm not done. Like, you're always interrupting me. I'm trying to explain something. Look, they had a form of slavery on the continent already. We would be amiss if we didn't mention that. There was already a slave trade already going on called the trans-Saharan slave trade. Now, the trans-Saharan slave trade predates the transatlantic slave trade. These rulers, they knew, but see, what they were doing was instead of enslaving the prisoners of war, they were adopting them and like, look, you eat after we eat. Your kids go to school after our kids, stuff like that. It wasn't we were raping and brutalizing and enslaving them to perpetuity like the European was doing. They thought it was going to be like that. They thought it was going to be the kind of slavery or captivity that they already had on the continent before the Caucasoid arrived. Now you have the trans-Saharan slave trade where they were turning black men into eunuchs and all of that. That was going on. And then you have the Moors going into Europe and civilizing them savages. And
Which was a big mistake because them people stunk. If I see a bum out here stinking, I'm not going to tell him that. I'm not going to go wash his funky, nasty ass. No, Them
Shabaka,
people stunk.
They stunk because the Catholic Church outlawed banning.
Okay, that part there, Brother Che. Now, you and I are in full agreement on that one, and please elaborate on that there, Brother Che, because we haven't even discussed that. Yeah, please elaborate on that they thought it was a sin to wash your nasty, funky, stinking behind.
Yes, they had outlawed it. They said it was a sin to get naked and cleanse yourself. That's why the Black Plague
sin to get naked. Yeah. And too bad it didn't wipe out all of Europe. Now, keep in mind is that homosexuality, they perpetuated a lot of that too. Now, where I had to unfriend our man L.A, okay, is that he's going to say when we were speaking to him about the griots, okay, and of course we all know the griots, right? Okay. Is that they will come there and they will transform they would speak of the history, for the generations after them. See, this is what Miriam Makeba was about, and we played the clip on that. You say, and then on top of it, but this house Negro syndrome, as where a Negro will sit up there and love everything other than himself. Now, that's incredible right there. Like Renee Shabaka just said that I read out there earlier. That's Renee Shabaka, not me. You see what I mean? Divide and conquer and all of that. So therefore, when these
it's old
Caucasians,
this is old and outdated information. We have updated the information, Shabaka.
What's the source of the information, Brother Che? Always consider the source. If it's a European, it's garbage. If it's an African brother, I would halfway listen to him. Now, another thing that I want to point out too, and then I'm going to yield, Brother Che, and crew, you can come on in and comment as well too. I'm going to yield for 10 minutes. Brother Ibrahim Traore. Okay. Brother Ibrahim Traore. Carrying on the traditions of Thomas Sankara, that I discussed, Brother Che. He paid off the colonial debt to France, shake the spot. You see what I'm saying? He's only 41 years old, I think, that you and I was discussing, Brother Che. So I appreciate Brother Ibrahim Traore.
37, Shabaka. He's a year younger than me. But
okay. So which means is that Sankara was the one who was killed at 42, 43, I believe, back in 87.
He was killed at 37, Shabaka.
Okay, that's Thomas Sankara. Okay. All right. All right. Now, crew, I don't know what you mean by this question right here. I mean, crew, do you have a love for white people, man? If you do, brother, that's your business. Okay.
Why is it when we acknowledge our Black Aboriginal roots here in the United States, in America, y'all automatically assume that we have a love for Europeans? Sister Hesepsi already alluded to.
Well, look at the imitation of life.
Shabaka, the original
American imitation of life. Get with me.
No definition of American. Get with us. Go back to 1828 with the definition of
Sir, I'm a diasporic African. For me to call myself an American is like I'm with Uncle Sambo. Not as many times I've been jacked up by these bastards that you see right there in the picture right there. How many times they don't put guns to the back of my head, pull the hammer back on a 9mm.
Before these lap dogs existed, Shabaka, which they come directly from slavery because they were the slave catchers. They weren't enslaving Africa. They were enslaving Black Aboriginal people that were already here. There was only 4 to 6.
Well, Brother Che, there's one hole in your argument. The hole in your argument, man, is that 80% of this North American continent, man, it snows, okay? Just like you told me, don't come to Denver, Colorado. The time that I did, man, I was caught up there in snow, freezing to death, man, feet numb and stuff like that. I drive my car, man, all that snow on top of it goes over the windshield and stuff like that, and I almost hit some daggone fool there in Denver, Colorado. I can't take cold. I need the heat.
Shabaka, there's cold in Africa. This is what
Where?
Cruz
On Kilimanjaro?
Yes. That's what Cruz talk. Not even just in Kilimanjaro, in South Africa, Shabaka. They got mountains.
That's the Draken. Okay, exactly. That's the Draken. The Draken. Okay. How was this brother who explained it to me?
Mountains
the Drakensbergs mountains, which is named after a boar. Yeah. But there was a brother, man, that I used to work with, man, who was a Zulu, and he told me the real name of it. You see what I'm saying? And then the brother that I worked with, who was from Azania, because I don't recognize a place called South Africa, it's Azania. He had asked me, he says, man, this is 1994. He said, hey, brother, I got a question for you. And I says, what's that, man? He says, man, why in 1992, when y'all had the rebellion that y'all didn't keep it going on? I said, specify. He says that after Sharpsville, do you know, man, we kept the uprisings going on, man, for the next 34 years. And that's why when Mrs. King went over there to visit Namzamo, and Mrs. King said, well, I'm going to go meet with the clerk. And Namzamo told her, well, if you go meet with the clerk, don't bother seeing me. And then, of course, you know, Namzamo, she invented the necklace. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about the necklace, crew? What do you think about the necklace?
Why are you asking him questions and you ain't even answered the questions that he's put in the chat? Like, what kind of stuff is that? Like, we got people in the chat that's asking questions and you won't answer the questions. You just keep deflecting to other topics.
Well, see, okay, here's the crux of it. The crux of it is, man, I don't like Europeans. I don't love Europeans. They're not our brothers, okay?
I don't like them either.
These essays, what they're doing down there in L.A., they're on their own. Okay, now you and I in full solidarity on that, you know, because this ain't our fight. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And they up there wondering how come we ain't out there.
This is what I mean. Like, let me finish this stuff.
Go ahead, sister.
I'll let them finish. Go ahead.
This is what I mean when we talk about our history outside of Africa. We automatically get assumed that we have a love for Europeans. But then at the same time,
a lot of these brain dead Negroes do. They love the master more than they love themselves. The X-Man taught you that. Come on now.
You gotta let me get my thought out. You keep interrupting me. Look, just because we acknowledge in our lineage here in America doesn't mean we have a love for Europeans. All we're stating is that we were already here before the Europeans. Before there was any European anywhere on this landmass, we were already here. How is us stating this? Now we're European? It makes no logical sense.
You, brother. We just disagree agreeably. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Then you say that we start to
I just agree with you agreeably.
Okay, no, you don't.
And crew, I don't concern myself with white people. I do not do the imitation of life. Okay?
He's asking you a basic question. Who is living in those mountains in Africa? There's mountains in Africa. Who's living in the mountains in Africa?
Enlighten me.
We all know that white people moved over to Africa and Xania, which they call South Africa, and started the apartheid so that they can take over that part of the country and live in that area.
And get the gold, get the diamonds, get the silicon, get the bauxite. And that's what President Traore is against. That's why Donald Duck Trump hates Traore. And then you got this brain dead, bald headed, ass scratching Negro by the name of Langley. Well, man, you know, I'm in America, this, that, there, the other. You see what I'm saying?
We are American.
Is that there European? Okay, crew. That source that you got right there, sir, is that their Afrocentric source?
Yes, Shabaka already went over it.
From who?
From several people, Shabaka. Several people.
Who?
And institutions.
Who? Just name me one of them. Who?
Skip the Truth Gates for one.
Man, skip the Truth Gates. Come on, man. That ass scratching Uncle Tom ass Negro. Come on. And gonna go up there with old Sambo when the police is gonna sit up there and prevent that man from going on his own property. Oh, let's sit down and have a beer. Oh, so let's sit down, get drunk. This fool just violated your civil rights, preventing you from going in your own house, and you decide to hop the fence. Well, that looks suspicious. Hey, man, that man could hop his fence. That man could blow his fence up. He could do whatever with it. It's his property. And oh, Sambo, let's sit down and have a beer.
Shabaka, what does that have to do? So, you asked if it's the Afrocentric source. I just said yes.
But skip the truth gates, brother Che. I got his book and I'm reading through his garbage, man. It's because, you know, we had commented on something about him and that you agreed with him.
Wrote is garbage. But what Lerone Bennett wrote is the gospel truth. You picking and choosing what source you want to validate and which one you don't want to validate.
Ebony Magazine.
European source. If it was a European source, you'd be saying, well, that's invalid. But then if we give you a black source, despite who
just as long as he's not a coon, okay? Like Uncle Sambo Jackson going up there buck dancing, you know, with that ridiculous outfit he had on. But I always loved Samuel L. Jackson in A Time to Kill.
There are Afrocentric sources.
I will always love him for that. I hated him when he played in that movie Lakeview Terrace, which was some garbage.
Here's the raw numbers, Shabaka. We've been lied to. But these are the raw numbers. People lie, women lie, men lie.
And what's the source of this information, sir?
I just told you, Shabaka. This is coming. The source.
That's Skip the Truth Gates, right?
Several sources, Shabaka, not just one source. Several sources. This is like scholarly research, like actually documented research, Shabaka. This ain't no Lerone Bennett. This is like Lerone Bennett times 10. This documentary.
And who is this scholar?
It's not just one scholar.
Well, who are the scholars?
Oh my God. Let me go through this again, Shabaka, for the umpteenth time. I already went over this with you. Look, I already said Henry Louis Gates. Then I already went over all the sources. It's like
Henry Louis Gates. Wow.
Look, Rice University.
Go get my Henry Louis Gates book.
Huskin Center for African and African American Research. The National Museum of African American History and Culture. The Smithsonian. The Hondo Institute, Berkeley University, UC Irvine, UC Santa Cruz, the University of the West Indies, Washington University in St. Louis, the Center for Study of Race, Ethnicity, and Equity.
Okay, let's see here.
Oh my God, these are scholarly.
Okay, all right, let me ask you and crew a question, okay? Let me ask you and crew a question, and please comment on this. Sister Hatshepsut, I already know your answer because you and I discussed this.
Are you going to give us
the question is?
Or are you going to keep cutting us off?
Okay.
Before we get to the question.
Okay. The question is this. Okay. The question is, if you went and saw, one of these Caucasoids lying in a hospital, needing a blood transfusion, would you give him a blood transfusion, Sister Hatshepsut?
Nope.
No, I'm asking crew that. Crew, I'm asking you a direct question. And plus that, man, I did accept you as a friend on Facebook. Crew, if you was there at the Cook County Hospital, a Caucasoid is in there needing a blood transfusion, and they say that your blood matches with him, would you give him a blood transfusion? No, please answer that question. I'm sorry?
He said no. Now answer his question.
Okay. Now, if you say no, then why are you sitting up here saying that you want to sit up here and be attached to this land where it snows in 80% of this continent, and then on the continent of Africa, it only snows there on 20% of that continent, if less. It don't add up. Connect the dot for me.
What you're saying isn't adding up, Shabaka. First of all, this is a super.
Well, I'm just going by what I read, brother.
Well, what you read is outdated and no longer relevant.
Now, why is that?
Because Shabaka, which is outdated. It's like a computer program. It's outdated. It's like you're still on Windows 95 and we sitting up here on Windows 11. It's outdated. So Crew is literally providing actual sources. Like,
okay, now here's Skip the Truth Gates right here. I'm going to read something by Skip the Truth Gates right here. The history of the African and American people, because if I was an American, then the police department would not be violating my civil rights if I was an American. Okay. Wait a minute. The history of Africans in America people came in what is now the United States began in late August of 1619, when the first cargo of 20 and odd Africans were on an English ship called the White Lion, landed in Jamestown, Virginia. These 20 Africans had been born in, believe it or not, Sisterhead Sepsu, Mutamba, okay? And how they ended up in Jamestown tells us quite a bit about the origins and nature of the slave trade to North America and its multinational, multicultural roots inscribed in the curious institutions from its very beginning. These 20 Matambians, because Angola is a Portuguese word, were captured either in military campaigns in 1618 and 1619, led by the Portuguese governor of Angola, Luis Mendes, and I can't pronounce it, Vasconcelos, in the highlands between the Kwanzaa and Lucala rivers, or in a civil war in the Kingdom of Congo between King Alvarado II and the rebel Duke of Matambo, Pedro de Silva, both Angolans who have, quote unquote, allegedly sold their captives to the Portuguese. The historians John Thornton and Linda Haywood conclude that 90% of the 12.5 million Africans shipped to the New World between 1501 and 1866 as slaves were captured by African elites and sold into slavery to Europeans. And the same bastards went up there and captured them ones too. Now, why in the hell ain't Skip Gates mentioning that part? I can't hear you, Crew. I can't hear you, Brother Che.
You're not letting me respond. You keep cutting me off every time I try to answer the question, Shabaka. That's this shit.
Sir, it's not me, Brother Che. I'm just going by. I just read the book, homie. I just read the book.
For somebody to respond, Shabaka. That's not how a debate or discussion works. You ask questions.
Okay, look, man.
Give an answer to the question. Okay. Then you ask another question. What you're doing is you keep asking question after 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 question, and you don't give nobody time to respond to the first question. And you won't.
Okay. But if you all love Europeans more than you love yourselves, that's on you.
Europeans.
But go ahead. In fact, I'm gonna mute my mic. You all go.
Because that don't make no sense. How is acknowledging the fact that the numbers that are that they say were brought over here is beyond exaggerated and not factually true, because we've done the updated research. We've updated the research. We're not stagnant. We're not stagnant on the research. If you're gonna learn, that's continuous. But you become stagnant, you like hit a roadblock, and it's like, look, I can't get past this part. They have a term for it. It's called cognitive dissonance, because you can't receive new information.
Sir, I just read to you what Renee Chirac said. Okay, so comment on what Renee Chirac said.
That's old, and
I will read it again.
Shabaka, what does that have to do?
Okay, I'm going to read again, then I'm going to shut up. Okay, here's what I'm going to do and address these issues right here, gentlemen, if you would please.
No, Shabaka, because you won't please. You keep interrupting me.
Okay, I'm going to read it again.
This is keeping us stagnant, Shabaka. This is why the channel's not growing, because we can't.
These are the words of Renee Chirac. We bled Africa for 4.5 centuries. We looted their raw materials. Then we told lies that the Africans are good for nothing. In the name of religion, we destroyed their culture. And after being made rich at their expense, we now steal their brains through miseducation and propaganda to prevent them from enacting Black retribution against us. That's the president of France. Now, I'm muting my mic. You all go on and talk, and I'll comment. But please address Renee Sharad.
Shabaka, that's true. We already know that's true. The problem is the disinformation is still going on, and we refuse to debunk it or go against it. And then if we do go against it, you say that we're worshiping the European. No, we're not worshiping the European, Shabaka. We're literally acknowledging that we were already here. The numbers have been exaggerated, that they said were brought over to North America, what is now the United States of America. Only 4 to 6% of Africans that were transported from Africa actually landed in what is now North America. This is documented fact, Shabaka. And then when we say, you say, well, then where's the source? There's plenty of sources, Shabaka. Then when I name out the source, you say, well, that was a house, Negro. Shabaka, at some point, you got to want to grow with the information, or you're just going to remain stagnant. What happens is we end up getting stagnant because we don't want to receive new information. Like Crew said, my brain is full. He has his own brain, and he will not accept new information. He won't even listen. This is why we had to end the call yesterday. Okay, yeah. And Nicholas has nothing to do with anything. He says Pan-Africanism is dead. Okay, let me get back to this. Sorry, Crew. I'm trying to keep up with all your comments. All Pan-African leaders are feds. Slave Voyages website is collaborative digital initiative that compiles and makes publicly accessible records of the largest slave trades in history. A few HBCUs on the list. Yep, that's what's on your screen right now. Yeah, this is why the channel's not growing, because we become stagnant. We still subscribing to theories. Theories are not facts. The Out of Africa theory, that's a theory. It's not a fact. It's a theory. And like Layla Africa said, theories get you through the day, but they're not facts. We've done the research. We always get told, you need to do the research. You need to do the research. We've done the research. We've updated since Lerone Bennett wrote his book. We have other scholars besides Lerone Bennett that have written books. Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Clyde Winters, Dr. Anthony Browder, Dr. Kaba. So the information is outdated. We're trying to update the information. What we've been told is a lie. Now, when we say this, then we say, then what is the truth? Well, you got to seek the truth to find out the truth. If you say that we've been given misinformation, but we still keep regurgitating the same misinformation, then how do we expect to grow? We can't. We become stagnant. Sounds like information from white people. He's basically saying what you were quoting is, this sounds like information from white people. But when we quote, whoever we quote, you say, well, that's the white source.
Well, Skip Gates is a European-minded Negro, okay?
But it's not just Skip Gates.
And the ones that did, and they were captured as slaves, true, Crew, in the European slave trade. That's what the Amistad was about.
Shabaka.
And Morgan Freeman, you're a punk.
Of the ones that were captured as slaves after they sold people into slavery. Do you have that document?
And the ones that did the selling were captured also, man, because Lerone Bennett just told you they used lies and deceit.
Okay, but do you have that documented proof? No.
How come you're not acknowledging that, man?
You're not acknowledging the data on your screen. Why aren't you acknowledging that?
Because they use lies and deceit.
Shabaka, you're just gonna keep
the
repeating.
Europeans is full of lies and deceit.
Shabaka, why aren't you acknowledging
just like the Greeks? Okay, just like the Greeks, they come up there, steal knowledge from us, claiming us as their own. Stolen legacy, Professor George G.M. James, man. Come on now.
Come on, Shabaka. Numbers don't lie. The numbers are there.
Sir,
what you're saying,
Europeans lie. Brain-dead Negroes lie.
And Pan-African, Scan-Africanists lie.
Well, those because that is due to, once again, neo-colonialism.
How you gonna make excuses for it?
Why do you think they killed Gaddafi? That's why they killed Gaddafi, because Gaddafi was coming out of that neo-colonialism, just like they did Thomas Sankara. They were coming out of neo-colonialism. That's why they hate Ibrahim Traore. He's coming out of neo-colonialism. That's why they hate Traore.
And this is why you hate the truth that's right in front of your face.
No, I ain't hate no truth, brother. I'm just spotting bullshit when I see it, homie. Come on now.
What you're saying is bullshit. Understand that.
Bro, check this out. Check this out. Okay, now you cussing at me, man, and I ain't cussed at you. If you feel that is your truth, I have mine. Okay?
Argument. It's not going nowhere. We haven't moved.
Okay, bro. Only thing what I'm just saying, oh man, on this here, we disagree agreeably. Now let's hear what the sister got to say. Crew, why don't you come on here too? You got the link. Say.
I was just gonna let you know that the Europeans, as we call them, who I call them straight out who they are, the devil. The white man and white woman are Diabolo, Shaitan, Satan, the devil. And they are the part of the 10%, the rich, the slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies, like you said, lies and deceit, to get what they want everywhere that they go. And to believe that the almighty, true and living God, which I believe in, is a spook and cannot be seen by the physical eye. Otherwise known as who I call the bloodsuckers of the poor. That's how they get what they want. That's how they get the money that they have, is by blood sucking us.
Okay, sister.
I can't
Renee,
none of them. Go ahead.
Right. And that's why Jacques Rene Chirac said what he said, who was a white man, who was a Frenchman, you see what I'm saying, who was a colonizer. And that's why Ibrahim Traore paid off his debt to France and told him, hey, shake the spot. Then they get this coon, Langley, a 4-star Marine Corps general. Oh, I'm such an American and all that. A Negro like that will lead his people straight down the toilet. Yes, ma'am.
And let me make this point. No one can justify a group of people who have no nationality background, no culture, going into other countries that do not belong to them, dividing, conquering, and killing to do what they want all the way up until today, 2025. That cannot be justified. It cannot be corrected. And the only way to correct it is either get rid of them or send them back home. Because they number, they're less than us. They only number 1 to 11 original people. Therefore, they have to be dismissed. Get off.
And then to give Brother Paris his respect that he had mentioned a while back, which he was right about. This is why these two Bobs, these Europeans want to sit up here and want to mate with black folk, okay? You see what I'm saying? Because they're getting wiped out. And Rene Chirac, you see what I'm saying? And then, what do you mean plays the victim? No, motherfucker, I ain't playing no goddamn victim, man. I'm sitting up here stating goddamn facts. Now, if y'all want to sit up there, crew, and believe that bullshit, man, that's on you, okay? Now, as I was saying, excuse my language, Sister Hesep, okay, what you just quoted right there is fact. But what it is that we don't owe these Europeans nothing. You see, but they think that we do. And this is what Rene Chirac said, is that, well, you get the fuck out of here, crew. All right. And then, no, your brain is broken, Trick. Okay, I'm stating facts. You stating bullshit. Okay. No, Chirac wasn't lying. He went up there and said exactly what they did, is divide and conquer, got black people hating themselves, and that would made them easier to conquer. That's all that I'm saying.
Hold on. You believe that from a colonizer, right? But you don't believe.
But Paris, that's what he did. Skip Gates is a coon. Skip Gates wants to sit up there and be loved by white folks. Skip Gates is going to go up there with the Obama and drink a beer with a police officer that prevented him from going on his own property. Come on now.
Irrelevance. You're literally quoting a colonizer, though. So you're saying that,
sir, this is what they did. This is why Ibrahim Traore, man, is doing what he's doing.
This is what they did based off of what source? You're literally citing a colonizer. That's what you're
No, I'm just read the material what Renee Chirac said.
Who was a colonizer, Shabaka? But you're saying that the colonizers,
the French, the British, the Dutch, the Portuguese.
Skip Gates and all these institutions came up with.
Okay, but Skip Gates, man. Okay, but Skip Gates, you know, or as they say, skip the truth Gates. You see? And that other source that I quoted right there at the beginning was from Rene Chirac, the president of France, who sat there and stated that exactly what they did is that we got Africans believing more so in Europeans than they believe in themselves, and we stole their minds through miseducation.
Since you're not going to answer no questions, how do you think the African kingdom was built? Not by conquest?
No, we built them. Okay, do you know the history of the Zulu Empire?
Shabaka.
Do you know how King Shaka built the Zulu Empire?
Shabaka, yes.
Okay, how did he build it?
He built it by conquest. Like all the kingdoms were built by conquest.
He built it by incorporation.
Okay.
He built it by incorporation.
Conquest. This is what I was talking about earlier about the slave trade that was going on in Africa, Shabaka. And they incorporated the prisoners of war into their kingdoms. They incorporated them. They didn't enslave them, they incorporated them.
Okay. But when them stinking, nasty savages came there and they saw us all, they had stated, we don't care about what they did. They are property to us. You see?
If you're incorporated,
I'm not cussing. I said the stinking, nasty savages is not cussing, crew.
Yes, you were. You were cussing earlier, Shabaka. Yes, you were. You were cussing like a sailor.
No, the fact of the matter, the fact of the matter is this, brother. The European ain't your brother. Okay. Now, if you want to sit up there, man, and if you want to sit up there, man, and call the European your brother, man, then distance yourself from me, because that tells me that you will sell me down the river.
How are you making assumptions, Shabaka? I never said the European was my brother. You've never heard me say that.
But you sound like he is your brother Jay.
No.
You sound like that.
What you sound like is you have cognitive dissonance. Look up the
No, sir, you have cognitive dissonance.
No,
I'm talking about stuff that I've lived through.
You don't want to hear no new information. So you the one that got
because it's bullshit, man. That's why.
It's bullshit.
Now I'm cussing.
And outdated. It's outdated. It's bullshit. It's outdated. You need to update your program. Update your information.
I always do, brother.
No, you don't. What's the most recent book you have, Shabaka?
Let me see here. Black America by Lerone Bennett Jr. Let me check these other books. Hold on.
What year was it published? What year was the book published?
Hold on. Frederick Douglass, Cicely Tyson, Just As I Am, Volunteer Slavery, Conversations with Myself, Mandela, and then, of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Black Profiles and Courage, and I'm surprised at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because he turned out to be a coon, too.
That doesn't answer my question, Shabaka. What years? Do you have anything recent?
You want me to go there and look through the dates of the books? All right, I'll do it. Okay, hold on. Now, here we go. Okay. This one here, Henry Louis Gates. Come on, man. Where's the year at in here? This here is 2011. Skip the Truth Gates. Okay, let's see here. Lerone Bennett right here. 1971, 1974. Johnson Publications, Chicago, Illinois. Okay. Hold on. Oh, boy. Boy, they're debating with cheap cats, man.
We got information for 50 years, 60 years.
Larry Elvis, I don't pay no attention to. Coon for real. Panthers, a black cat, Reginald Major.
That's what I mean. You got to update
1971.
Old.
The X-Man. Soledad, brother by George Jackson. Volunteer slavery. Dr. King's speeches. Okay. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Black Profiles and Courage. He turned out to be a coon. Nelson Mandela. Let me see right here. And the power of humanity that I'm yet to read. Okay. All right, does that answer your question, Brother Che?
That answers my question. Your information is outdated.
Well, that's your opinion, man. Okay.
It's either a fact or it's not. We're in 2025. We're not in 1965.
You're right. And keep in mind, and all this information they're giving to you, man, through this AI is a bunch of garbage. Look who they elected as the president. I don't give a damn about what 19 white men say. They don't even believe in bathing, man.
But you agree, that's funny though, because you sitting up here quoting Chirac, who's a white man.
No, but that's what he said, that they bled Africa for all that they could and told them lies. You see what I'm saying? And told the African lies through neo-colonialism. See? And them 21 people there are lying, man. I can't take cold. 80% of this continent, man, is snow. That's what blows that out the water.
True.
We're people from the heat.
That's not
We're
true.
people from the heat.
What you're saying, first of all, this continent is a supercontinent. This is what I mean. You got old, outdated information, Shabaka.
Sir, and what I'm telling you, brother, where you sitting at right now.
Is you can't grow if you're still citing books from 1975. We're in 2025.
Sir, going back to tradition is the first step forward. The concept of Sankofa.
Take what is useful and leave what is useless. What you're
right,
quoting.
And then to quote the words of Dr. Marimba Ania, student of the one and only Dr. John Henry Clark. She talks about the Ma'afa. Okay, it's because Marimba went over there and submerged herself in a culture for 15 years to do her research on that.
Shabaka, again, we got research that's more recent than what you've been quoting.
Look, man, check this out. If you want to go out there, brother, and wave a red, white, and blue flag, that's on you. I will stick to my RBG flag.
Okay, well, you're Irish then. You worship in the Irish.
No, I'm not Irish.
Yes, you are,
I'm
Shabaka.
not no damn Irish.
Yes, you are, Shabaka, because that's where Marcus
I'm not.
got that flag from. But you wouldn't know that.
I'm not no damn Irish. I'm not no damn Dutch. I'm a black man in America.
But you're waving the RBG flag, which was patterned off after the
Homie, the flag, okay, look, the flag that I'm wearing, man, is for our self-sufficiency and to cut off these colonizers, okay? We got to get them out of our everyday aspect of life. You see what I mean?
No self-sufficiency, Shabaka. That flag that you waving.
Okay, hold on. Okay, then tell me this. What's the key to our self-sufficiency, brother? I'm getting on my mic. You all talk. Tell me, what's the key to our self-sufficiency? I'm
getting
my
on
mic.
code. Getting on code. That's the key to our sufficiency.
Getting on code with what?
With what, Shabaka? Neely Fuller Jr., the code book. Acknowledging that we're under a global system of racism, white supremacy. And acknowledging that we need to replace that with a system of justice, which guarantees that nobody.
Bro, go ahead, Sister Hellstep Shoot.
You won't even let me finish what I'm saying. You're so quick to
Sister Hesepsu got her hand up, brother.
And I was in.
No, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
I was in the midst.
Go ahead, brother Che. Then go to Sister Hesepsu. I'm muting my mic because I got background noise here.
You can't get nowhere with this. You keep cutting people off. You won't let nobody answer. You ask questions. You won't let nobody answer. Look, the code is by Nellie Fuller Jr. And he said that we need to actively work to replace this global system of racism and white supremacy with a system of justice, which guarantees that nobody's mistreated by the color of their skin, and those that need the most constructive help get it in a constructive manner. No more questions. Listen. That's your problem. You won't listen. You always got a damn question. Look, you won't even answer a question, but you got a question. That don't make no sense, Shabaka. Listen. Guaranteeing that nobody's mistreated by the color of their skin, and those that need the most constructive help get it in a constructive manner in all 9 areas of human activity, which is economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, sex, war, and religion, and some say health and nutrition. In all 9-10 areas of human activity. That's how we build self-sufficiency, by acknowledging the common open enemy right there in front of our face, which is the global system of racism and white supremacy. That's how.
Okay, then you just proved my point. That's what I've been saying all along, Brother Che. You saying half dozen in one, and I'm saying 6 in the other. Global racist white supremacy. You say, that's the real enemy. Global racist white dumpster supremacy. And we up here at each other's throat. And for what?
Supremacy, because we're at each other's throat because you come off as a shield, Shabaka. You're always caping for the Democrats. You're always putting everything on the goddamn.
Man, sir. I tore my voter registration card. I ain't voting no more presidential scam elections.
Shabaka.
I ain't caping for no Democrats, man.
Yes, you are, Shabaka. Because you're always saying,
I'm not.
The dump this, the dump that. You forget who was in power before the dump and who put us in this mess in the first place.
Okay.
But you never
that's Osambo.
Even yes, Shabaka.
That's Kamala.
Biting, but you never say that, Shabaka. You just like the dump this, the dump that, the dump this, the dump that. They left and right wings of racism and white supremacy.
Brother Che, we've agreed on that, man, for the last 5 years, that both of them are the same side, or 2 different sides of the same coin. It was the Democrats that brought you the Ku Klux Klan, but had these brain dead Negroes, you know what I'm saying? Actually, crew, the book is 1974 on Lerone Bennett. Okay. All right. As that you and I both agreed on, and that's why I tore my voter registration card. Okay. They are 2 sides of the same coin.
All we're saying is update your information, Shabaka. You quoting stuff from you still reading stuff from 50, 60 years ago. Like there hasn't been no publication that have came out since then. Go ahead, sister.
Sir. Oh, yeah, go ahead, sister.
I was just going to respond to you had said, what can we do as a people? Or somebody had said, what can we do as a people today? And what kind of work can we do? Well, the messenger, I always refer back to this book, and it's been updated recently, but it has not been tampered with. He always mentions how to his economic blueprint that he laid out specifically that he said came from God and himself. And I believe that. Mm-hmm. I believe that. It's called the economic blueprint. There's 10 steps to it. And in that economic blueprint, one of them is to do for self. And in doing for self, we have what we call a Muslim program where we sell things out of our community, or you can sell your own items, t-shirts, whatever, just pick something and make your own money. Because this is what we're headed to today. We have to do for ourselves today because Trump has come back at everybody from working. I mean, here's a man, okay, who he's spending over $4 million of our own
and who's a multiple convicted felon. Yeah.
Yeah, and in a military career, he's going to spend over $400 million of our own tax money in a military parade that's coming up soon, but yet states that he can't afford Social Security or Medicaid. What kind of junk is that?
On his birthday. Yeah, exactly. And
we don't risk our health to go to a military parade, spend our tax dollars, and be left without Medicaid. So I guess he deserves a breach of that to go to a military parade that really just makes no sense to me. All you're doing is showing off who they call the world's greatest military force is in America. So what? That means nothing. All that is just war. No peace whatsoever. Nobody's going around.
And I'm glad you brought that up, sister.
Like they used to. It's always about what you looking at. And, it's hatred. And it's envy and jealousy. And it's because of who we have in office. Trump, the dump. And I don't like him. I don't like none of his people. And I don't like the fact that people are saying, well, we should have voted for him because he was going to help with the inflation. That was a trick. What he did was he raised the inflation. He lied and said he was going to help with the inflation, and he raised it. That was a trick to get him in the office. I don't like none of them. I never agreed that they belong here. And I think that they have been causing havoc since they've been here. And all they're doing today is just revealing who they truly were from before when they hid who they were, who was the devil.
Okay, now I'm going to respond to Crew. Now, Crew, you put a quote up there stating where nobody is mistreated. What do you mean by nobody is mistreated? You sound like an integrationalist, brother. And as far as mistreatment, okay, justice is when nobody is mistreated and the most help goes to the ones that most need it. Okay, now riddle me this here, Crew. Okay, riddle me this here, Brother Che. Why are these black on black killings? Okay, hold it. Why are all these black on black killings in the Chi, in Denver, in Angeltown, in Oakland?
Shabaka, because it's internalized self-hatred, and also Shabaka, as I've shown on the Front Line Blacc News, if you was paying attention, a lot of these murders are being committed by white people that have disguised themselves as black. No,
okay, hold on, Brother Che. You're on to something right there.
You won't let me answer.
No, you're on to something right there. I'm agreeing with you.
Let me finish. I'm not done. Damn. Look. A lot of those murders are not even committed by us.
Okay. Okay. I agree with you.
So what that means is they're just revealing themselves.
Yeah.
Who they truly are.
Yeah. Okay, that's what he's saying, Sister Hesep, is that they did uncover a plot where they'll take these guns, and the Ku Klux Klan even got out there and said that they take these guns, they dump them over there on the south and west side of Chicago, okay, and then they would have the black gangs going up there killing each other. You see what I'm saying? Now, that's the manipulation from outside forces. The reason why they do this is because if we all did come together, you see what I'm saying, then we'll be a very, very formidable force, like Renee Chirac said. That's why he taught the people lies to get them to hate themselves. And why do you think that old Macron recently was hating on Ibrahim Traore?
I got a question for you. When you say come together, what does that mean? Because it sounds good.
I'm talking about our people, bro.
Who is our people?
I'm not talking about no straight hairs.
When you say come together to do what? You always say we.
Well, first place is that you and I agreed on a previous show, Brother Che, is that when Trump got rid of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, that was the best thing that ever happened for black business. Why? Because now we don't have to hire them. Just like when they was talking about reverse discrimination. So with the white man saying reverse discrimination, that goes to prove that he acknowledges the fact that there was discrimination in the first place. Okay?
You can answer my question, though. That's not answering my question. I asked you, when you say we need to come together, what do you mean by that? Bringing jump. That's not what
I'm
I asked
talking
you.
about us. Okay, I'm talking about all of those, man, from the continent of Okibala. Get rid of them straight heads. Don't have them up in your business.
We're not all from the continent.
Like John Henry Clark said, when these white folk join black organizations, their mission is not to help the organization, but is to disrupt it from within. The counterintelligence program, Brother Che.
Right now it's being disrupted, and you're not answering no questions.
I just answered your question, sir. I just answered your question.
Oh, you didn't, Shabaka. You didn't say we was coming together to do.
I never said we was coming together. It would be a wonderful thing if we did, is what I was saying, Brother Chad. But it's not going to happen because we still got too much division within.
Shabaka, listen very closely. Listen very closely to what I'm saying. I asked you, when you say we need to come together, what does that mean? And then you brought up the jump and all this other stuff. That's not what I asked.
I see your point. I'm talking about economically, educationally, scientifically. You see what I'm saying? Macroeconomically. Let's say what we do for ourselves. Okay? See? Not going out here loving these house Negroes, not going out here loving these tethers. You see what I'm saying? Just like the sister that told that Negro over there in Nigeria, saying that we ain't got no connection with y'all. And the sister told that fool that if he would have brought his black ass over there to Wilmington, North Carolina in 1961, he would be forced to had them fire hoses turned on him as well too. There are not all these black on black crime killings in Chicago, richer suburbs and shy as where I am, not at this moment. Okay, crew. What I'm saying is we need to quit this division amongst ourselves is because it all boils down to, brother, we are all we got.
Go ahead,
you
brother.
see, we are all we got. And these Europeans do not love you. And I don't care how many of you Negroes want to go up there and lay up with Becky's. I don't care how many of you bad wenches want to go up there and lay up with what they call the white boys.
Ken.
White woman is the Becky. Kens. Yeah. Say, because there is no black power in bad wenching or buck wenching.
Damn right. Huh? Oh, hey, can I add something too?
Yeah.
From what you were saying earlier. Damn, I had a call and it kind of threw me off. Okay, I had an analogy.
That's your business, crew.
Hey, check this analogy out. The guy say they robbed the bank, right? And and they got away with like $30,000. And then they read in the newspaper that they got away with $100,000, but that to the slave trade. If they say that they had, like Brother Shay was saying, the numbers don't add up because see they don't never play fair. They give you what they want you to have. And one last thing, Malcolm X said we've been robbed of our knowledge of self, and the person that writes the history write it the way they want to write it. Yeah, I mean what they say, the victor writes the narrative, and then he doesn't believe it. I don't know why. And did we realize? I mean, haven't we learned like the Indian, like the Native American said, white man speak with forked tongue? We ain't learned that yet. Come on, man. And one last thing before I forget, because this is what I was actually thinking about, and I lost it for a minute. When the white folks went down to the Capitol, right? Yeah. They were, oh, please go back, right? And then when the Mexicans, when they protested in L.A., they getting some bean bags and some rubber bullets shot at them, right? But when our people protested, Bull Connor had German shepherds, fire hoses, And I don't know how many people may have even died in that because, of course, they're not going to tell you because they're the ones write it down, you know? So what they'll say is, oh, there were a couple of injuries and a few people died of natural causes. Bull jack. So anyway, just want to land on that because we can't believe what they say. And when I look at the dimensions of that slave ship, I'm like, if there are any slave ships, I'm still doubting that. But and I agree with what you were saying about they would, and they probably deteriorated by now. But hell, they found Noah's Ark. You know, with the metal rivets and stuff, they can say, okay, the wood that deteriorated, but all the bolts and nuts and all that stuff, all of it didn't deteriorate. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I can believe them or not. That's all. Simple as that. Black power.
Okay. Black power there to you too. Now, what I'm saying right here is my point is this, Lightning. Okay, is that the white man has been all about divide and conquer, like Sister Miriam Makeba had stated, is that we translated our traditions down orally, okay? Just like you and I, Brother Che, had argued with Dumbo old Sarge and we had to push the eject button on him. But the white man says that you did not exist until we discovered you. Poof, you exist. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, everything that cracker is telling you, man, you know, is lies. Just like Renee Chirac said. Because, you know, Renee Chirac went up there and said that I read earlier that we fed them lies and we got them to believe in our lies. You see what I'm saying?
You believe that cracker, but you won't believe Skip Gates.
Skip Gates is a coon, man. He's going to sit up there and drink a beer with old Sambo of a white racist ass race soldier, policy enforcer who prevented him from going into his own house. That's coon shit, man. Excuse my language, Sister Hub.
The information that's being provided, though, somebody.
Well, like I said, bro, you know, I'm in my twilight years, man. After my demise, I wish you all the best. But if you all sit up there, man, and want to go unify with these crackers, man, you're making a big mistake.
Crackers, Shabaka. I don't know where you get that assumption from. We're not trying to unify with no damn crackers. We're trying to get our damn people on code.
Well, the only thing I can say about that is this, okay? Is that we are all we got, okay? And these crackers are coming after us, okay?
Yeah, they are.
They ain't gonna care if you're FBA. They ain't gonna care if you're a diasporic African.
Black power. Can I ask something quick? Add KD Walt. He trying to get in. He say he couldn't get in. Add him. He's trying to get in. Black power.
Brother. Disconnected. Black power. Welcome to the program, Brother K.
I'm not sure if he's on. He gonna try to get back in again.
Well, they throwing monkey wrenches in our works, man. You know. Now, who you are referring to?
He's in. He say he can see everybody, but he can't talk. He must be backstage.
Does he have a mic? Is he connected properly?
Yeah, he's got to turn his mic on.
Oh, what were you gonna say, KD? He right here with me. So turn your mic on, he said.
Black power.
All right, I hear you. We can hear you, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, indeed. I can hear the brothers and sisters. It's just I can't see the brothers and sisters no more. But it's all good. I can still hear the brothers and sisters on this talk show. And I just want to send out a powerful message to all the haters of black people. It's a new day for the black man, woman, and child. And we're going to black that call when it's called upon.
That's right.
Black power. And make sure the mic is on too. It should be at the bottom, the little mic icon. Make sure it's not red. Tap that. Yep. All right. Okay. Well, at least you're on with me, so you can still hear. All right, y'all, keep going.
I don't love the colonizer crew. You got me a
No,
little effed up on
he's
that one, brother.
saying
I
that
don't love the colonizer.
you're misinterpreting what he's saying. He's saying
No, Cruz says here, and I'm going to quote him. He says he's talking to me, and he emphasized you, Shabaka, like when you say we love the colonizer. I don't love the colonizer.
no, you say that we love the colonizer, Shabaka, because we acknowledge in our lineage here, and we showing you
Well,
that
like I said, once again, that's on you, brother. That's on you, man.
True.
That's on you. Because it snows in 80% of this continent, and I cannot stand snow, just like you warned me not to come to Denver, Colorado when I did and froze to death. I was all gummed up, snow all over my windshield.
Y'all remember
people driving on that highway going 80 million miles an hour. Daggone state of Colorado send me toll fabs.
Yeah, he was warned.
Hey, do y'all remember that show called Snowfall?
Yes.
Okay, they were showing how the CIA was the one bringing the drugs into the hood.
Hold on one second, Dynamite. First place, crew, I'm not an idiot. If you want to see an idiot, go look in the mirror.
Shabaka, you literally said you're not the brightest one.
Man, me, man. You know,
well, that's all right.
Idiot.
He got a right to his opinion. That's all right. Yeah. Oh, but like on Snowfall, it was saying that that they bring the drugs and the guns into the hood. And now I don't know if y'all know it, but Trump just made it legal for conversions for your guns, like bump stocks and switches. Yeah. He just made it legal to have to make your weapon fully automatic. So what's wrong with this man?
Black Joe said
he's crazy. He's a convicted felon. Trump is on dope.
What's up? What Black Joe say?
He had mentioned it on the last show.
Hey, he's good with anything that's gonna upgrade our firepower. I already know that. But I'm like, yo, if that means that the enemy gonna have it too, and that means a lot of us can't afford it, you know. And it's like, okay, they still got them in the hood, but they got them on illegal weapons, so we can't win for losing. Even when we got legal weapons and we go across state lines, they still be like some kind of way we wind up incarcerated for a gun that's actually legal. Just like when they killed Ryan, what's his name? Ryan Hinton. When they killed Ryan Hinton, they killed him because he had a gun. It's legal to have a gun down there, you know? So there you go, Black Power.
Okay, well, Dynamite, you just proved my point. You just brought out the hypocrisy of the American social order.
Yep.
For sure. You just brought out the hypocrisy of the American social order.
And then, you know, white folks when they up there in the hills, they kill each other because that's who they got to deal with. You know, they kill each other over. You took my tractor and didn't say nothing. So I'm saying Mexicans kill Mexicans if they're around Mexicans. Black folks kill black folks because they're around black folks.
Okay, but hold on, no, Dynamite. You just brought up a memory, man. Right here on Interstate 15. Going from L.A. to Chicago, these two racist, white supremacist organizations got into a shootout where they was shooting and killing at each other, man, all up and down I-15, which is between Vegas and L.A., right? How can we encourage more of that?
Let them fight amongst themselves. Stay the hell out of that fight. This is what we're talking about.
Well, just like you said, Brother Che, that we did on Front Line Blacc News. Okay, what's happening in LA is none of our concern. You see, and Maxine Waters, she needs to retire. She did her job. The sister's up in age, and they sitting up there trying to disrespect her. You see, and you know, Brother Che, we covered that when she tried to launch the investigation to all the crack cocaine going into South Central LA. Who shut down her investigation? The then Attorney General under your boy, Bill Clinton. Janet Reno. Okay, I'm just speaking figuratively, Che. I understand that. And then just like you had pointed out that you brought knowledge to about Gary Webb, who sat up there and disclosed it, and he had said that he had been shot at twice already before he did, and they wind up killing him. Yeah. Yep. Which you was right about, Brother Che. So check that there, crew.
All right, we already hit the 2-hour mark, Shabaka. So I'm going to start making final statements because this show done took a whole another turn I was not expecting.
I have a closing statement.
Go ahead, Sister Hissepsu.
It was mentioned about doing for self several times as Black people as a whole.
Excuse me one second, sister. Excuse me one second. Crew, I'm not even going to dignify that dumbass question, man, with an answer. Please continue, sister.
None of the questions. So go ahead, Sister Hissepsu.
Yes, sir. It was brought up several times about doing for self and supporting each other as Black people as a whole. And I wanted to read a little bit of what it said in my closing about doing for self in the economic blueprint that the messenger had mentioned. It says, a Black man in America faces a serious economic problem today, and the white racist Christianity cannot solve it. You, the so-called American Negro, with the help of Allah, can solve your own problem. The truth must be recognized by the Black man. He himself has assisted greatly in creating...
No, I don't speak nonsense, crew. Now, if your dumb ass can't understand it, man, that's on you. I'm sorry, sister. Please continue because crew keeps insulting me.
Yes, sir. And then it says, the truth must be recognized by the Black man. He himself has assisted greatly in creating the serious problem of unemployment, insecurity, and lack. Before the Black man can begin to gain economic security, he must be awakened from the dead and gain knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, which will enable him to follow my teachings. And then he lays out a small mini blueprint before he gets into the deep blueprint. It says, the following blueprint shows the way. 1, recognize the necessity for unity in group operation activities. 2, pool your resources physically as well as financially. 3, stop one-time criticisms of everything that is Black-owned and Black-operated. 4, keep in mind jealousy destroys from within. And 5, observe the operations of the white man. He is successful. He makes no excuses for his failures. He works hard in a collective manner. You do the same. So we just got to, unite with each other, and stop fighting with each other and killing each other so much and just,
explain that to crew, sister.
And do for self.
Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely correct. Explain that to crew. Now, crew, did you understand what the sister said?
And then I just want to touch
because I'm starting to suspect crew as being an agent.
I'm not trying to start anything or anything like that, but we have to learn how to respect each other. If we have points that we want to make and they may not be agreeable with your point, we can't be going back and forth with each other saying that, oh, you ain't got a brain or whatever. That's disrespectful. We have to respect each other's point. There's a lot of things here that's been talking about today I didn't agree with, but I didn't come down anybody's throat. I'm just listening and learning, but this unity between us is what's stopping us from flourishing as a people and doing for self and protecting each other in unity and unified with each other. We can't be using envy and jealousy and hatred and disagreement as an excuse not to unite with each other. You see what I'm saying? There's always going to be disagreements, but we can't be going down each other's throats.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, and to prove your point even further, Sister Hepzibah, I'm about to exercise what you just said. Hey, crew, unfriend me and block me on Facebook, okay? Because you are off code. I think you an agent, crew.
Shabaka, you're being off code.
I think he's an agent.
No, he's not an agent, Shabaka. But they can suspect you of being an agent because you refuse to update your information. Look.
Sir, I'm talking about stuff that I've lived through, okay? And I sure as hell is not an agent. Now, Brother Che, are you an agent?
That's why I laugh.
And
that cracked me up.
You that question.
No, Not no damn agents.
Agent of chaos. I'm talking about to the opposition. He an agent of chaos to the opposition. I can vote for that. I can vouch for that. You know?
He's pretty disrespectful. He's pretty disrespectful.
Who is this, sister? Who's disrespectful, sister?
Crew is pretty.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's
yeah, he should be respectful,
hey,
you know, because remember you in public, brother.
Shabaka,
yeah, you welcome to leave this platform, crew. And I'm through talking to you, brother, and I'm blocking your ass because I think you're an agent, crew.
Crew won't want to be
no agent. He just got new information.
No, and then it's good to keep on. It's good to keep them on though, because you know you don't want everybody that's just agreeing. You want some people that disagree. That way we can prove them wrong. You know, they can make their point, and then when we finish proving them wrong, they'll be like, "Oh, okay," you know. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't tolerate disrespect towards my brother. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, same here. I'm like that too, but after many years of deleting so many people, I was like, wait a minute. These people are calling me now, and I've deleted their number. I can't even block them. I keep them. I keep them on the block list. You know, sometimes I get extra pissed off. I will block their ass and then delete them. They can never contact me no more. You know, shit. But that's only when I'm in my mood, you know. And then I'll be thinking about it later. I was like, damn, I could have went on ahead and proved that person wrong. Where they at? Come on, let's unblock them. I'm like, shit, I already deleted the number. Now I call somebody else to get the number back. Just so I can unblock them long enough to figure out why I blocked them in the first place. But then I say, you know what? I'm going to let it ride. You know, I'm going to let it ride. Yeah.
So, crew, he can comment. I'm not acknowledging crew because crew, you're an agent.
Crew ain't no agent.
Well, that agent word need to be eliminated from our vocabulary. He's just somebody that disagree with us. That's all. You know? Yeah. But I doubt if he's an agent, because if he was an agent, I don't know. It don't seem like they would be on here. They'd be busy working. Yeah, busy working. Shit.
Like 285.
But COINTELPRO, their thing is to disrupt the black movement, and this is the black movement right here, you know? So if they trying to disrupt it, maybe they are. I don't know. I don't like that, you know, like that word. So, but somebody call me that, I'm going, well, say hypothetically they should be tied to a tree, put an apple on their head, let me go get my crossbow and prove to you two things. Three things. Number one, I'm not William Tell. Number two, I probably won't hit that apple, but the fact that I'm doing this, you'll know I ain't them folks. That's when I fire that shit up in the air. Now, go cut his ass loose from that duct tape. But you can't do that either. Wow. They'll be the very ones calling them. And they'll be talking about no snitching. And as soon as you cut them loose, you'll have the feds at your door. So can't prove nothing to these people. You know, it used to be a time where you could knock their block off because there wasn't a camera at every corner. You know?
Crew ain't no agent.
Now, members of a Black Panther. This dude was talking a bunch of stuff, right? And I was with my lady, right? We just coming from a concert, and I say, well, I said, you talking all that stuff? There got to be some police. And I looked down the street. I said, right down the street. I said, I said, how about you follow me back in this alley? Talk that shit. And then guess what? This is the funny part. I was driving up the street, right? And he was at the bus stop. I pulled over to the bus stop and told him I was bored. You know, it was just coincidence that I saw him, but I told him I was following him. I said, now you want to talk that shit now? You ain't in front of the police, ain't in front of no cameras now. What's up? So, crew, remember, Shabaka got a few of us out here that's just like that. And I'm going to hook him up with the Las Vegas chapter because, what was it, Jay Jackson? He ain't playing. You did? Black. He ain't playing.
Crew, so I went on and blocked you, Cat, as per your request. Okay? And ain't nobody disrespected you, brother. You disrespected me, and I was on called for.
Shabaka, he only disrespected you after you disrespected him.
I did not disrespect him.
Yes, Shabaka, now you gaslight.
How did I disrespect him?
You said that he was in love with the colonizer, Shabaka.
Yeah, but it's a matter of opinion.
Well,
Yeah,
when
no.
he's talking, man, that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, we got to agree agreeably. Yeah.
Yeah, disagree agreeably. I always said that.
Definitely, Shabaka. You learn to disagree agreeably. You don't have to
Dude,
agree.
why don't you quit smoking dope, man? Go back and smoke you some more crack, man.
No, that's that. No, man. Crack don't even make them want to talk.
Yeah, you know, I don't debate with ignorance.
They on that finny.
And I'm talking to them.
But Crew is a contributor to the platform.
You say cocaine is a hell of a drug. Yeah, who said that? Rick James. Rick, yeah.
Well, look what happened to Rick James.
Oh, yep. True that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, look what happened to old slick Rick James. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hollywood would love you to death. Oh,
yeah.
Crew. Shabaka is an idiot, okay? You see what I'm saying? Well, if you want to see an idiot, Crew, go look into the mirror. Now you going down to insults is because you cannot handle this truth, okay?
Shabaka, you haven't stated no truth. The truth that you have stated has been debunked.
Sir,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just talking about what I've lived through, okay?
No question.
That's all
Shabaka.
I talk about is what I've lived through.
Experience, Shabaka. What we're saying is you just need to update your information.
And all I'm saying is that I'm talking about what I've lived through, okay?
Well,
that's all I'm talking about is what I've lived through, nothing else.
It's not 1975.
Nothing else. No, I wasn't alive in 1875.
I agree with you, Shabaka.
Thank you, sister. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. I'm just talking about what I've lived through. Now, if y'all want to go out here and love these white folks, that's on you.
That's your problem. You think that because we're talking what you're saying, that we're in love with the colonizer, that we're in love with white people. We don't love white people. We don't love the KBs. That's the problem right there.
I said what I said. Let's continue. Let's move forward.
Get to the closing statement because we already passed the 2-hour mark, and when we were on Blog Talk Radio, it was the 2-hour mark. So everybody,
yeah, exactly.
Statements.
My closing statement is we thank everybody for participating here with Grand Rising, and it looked like somebody dropped off or they got blocked. I see Sister Headset Shoot is gone. All right, Sister Headset Shoot, thank you for joining us, sister. You know, always dropping knowledge as you do. Okay, and Brother Che and Kruma, you know what I'm saying? More power to him because like I said, Crew, if you want to find a fucking idiot, go look in the mirror. All right, and Brother Che, you know, wish him well in his campaigns because he's the only politician who I'm going to vote for if I'm able to on that. So I see we disagreed agreeably today, you know, which is fine. I yield.
All right, Sister Headset, what is your closing statement?
I already made my closing statement about doing for self, that we're being pushed to do for self today, and I laid down the economic blueprint that was mentioned by the messenger.
Oh yeah, that's right. You sure did. All right, Dynamite.
Yes, man.
I'm just glad to be here, you know, absorbing all the information and camaraderie with my brothers and sisters, you know, we can kind of put it together, you know, we have to think, you know, logically and say, we know these people are liars, so, you know, you can't believe their logs when they say they brought 100,000 people over here, you know, damn well, it's just like the bank robber that only got away with $30,000. You know, I still think, in my opinion, and it make a whole lot of sense, them was babies. You can't control no Africans. Man, they will take over your ship and be like, I'm the captain now. All right, Black Power. Everybody look out for each other. Don't stop fighting with each other. And unity is the only way we can get this together. Personally, I'm like, golly. Uh, hmm. We all looking for black liberation, and this is the struggle. That's all I gotta say, you know. And if we don't try to see what's going on, then we're gonna be left in the dark. Because, like I said, they sick dogs on our people. They have fire hoses on our people, and they were shooting rubber bullets and all that stuff. Who knows? Maybe even live rounds. As a matter of fact, I think it was Cincinnati. I'm not sure, but one of them places they were saying that they gonna shoot to kill if they have to deal with that protest stuff. They start throwing rocks and bottles. They gonna shoot back live round. So keep that in mind. And that ain't our fight. Black power.
Black Power, thank you for joining us, Black Lightning. Make sure y'all sub up to Black Opium on YouTube.
Opium, not opium. Opium, Black Opium Lion on Facebook. I can't give up on YouTube until I can get on like No Jumper or something, you know.
Oh my God, that's 18th Central. You definitely don't want to go on No Jumper.
I want to go on there with 607 up. I don't want to go on there with Adam 12. I mean Adam 22.
22.
I'm not going on with that. I want to go on with 607. Shout out to 607 on too. We might just be making this happen. Seriously, Black Power.
Black Power. All right, so I'm gonna close. So thank y'all for tapping in. Season 10, episode 26, Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase in conjunction with the Front Line Blacc News. Sorry we wasn't able to get to all the topics tonight, or this morning rather.
Well, just save them, for the next episode of Front Line Blacc News, brother.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do that. Where can we go from here?
I suggest on that is that we keep an eye on what's unfolding in Los Angeles, okay? It's because this stuff is spreading all across the nation.
My closing statement, please stop interrupting me. I've been doing that all show long. Look, we can't have unity. We can't have community without unity. Unity don't mean that we all gonna see eye to eye on the same thing. It just means that, look, I acknowledge you as a fellow brother and sister in the struggle. And if one of these OTBs come mess with you, I'm going to fight and defend you, period. Now, we got to update our information. It's like a computer program. We got to update it. We can't still be stagnant because we end up getting stagnant and complacent. And we get into these circular arguments that go nowhere. The code teaches us that problems are solved by questions and answers. So if you ask a question, give somebody time to respond to the question. Instead of continuing to interrupt them and ask questions after questions after questions without actually addressing the initial question and giving an answer. Otherwise, you get chaos and confusion. So appreciate Shabaka. This is going to be it right here. So appreciate everybody tapping in. Season 10, episode 26, Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase in conjunction with the Front Line Blacc News. Join us tomorrow for a brand new episode of the Front Line Blacc News. In the meantime, make sure y'all like and subscribe to all of our platforms, Front Line Blacc News on YouTube and Facebook. The Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook, and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Facebook and Twitter, now X. So peace, love, light, reparations, and separations, and Black empowerment. Appreciate Sister Hesepshu. It's been a while. Glad to have you back, sister. Joining us this morning, and of course, Black Lightning for joining us as well, and Brother K. DeWatt for tapping in briefly. And appreciate everybody in the comments.
I got one last statement, if I may.
Appreciate Mac 285. Appreciate you, Twin. Appreciate you, crew. All right, what is your final statement, Shabaka?
Okay, remind me to make a comment about the Vietnam War, okay? If we was already here, okay, all right, then how did you we allowed ourselves to be colonized? Now, during the Vietnam War, toward the end of it, right, as they said, The reason why the Viet Cong caused the U.S. military so much havoc is because they were in their own house. So if we were in our own house, how did we allow these two-bobs, okay, to come in here and quote unquote colonize us? You can save that there, man, for the next episode. I'm just putting a question out there, and I want to ask Sister Hatshepsut, okay, what do you feel about my question in regard to the Vietnam War, Sister Hatshepsut?
I think it's relevant.
Thank you,
I think
ma'am.
it's very, very intelligent and very relevant.
Yes, ma'am.
50 years ago.
I know, but what it is, though, the reason why the U.S. lost, Brother Che, and they had to pull out in 1975 is because they were in the Viet Cong's house. The Viet Cong knew the terrain. They was digging those tunnels. You know what I'm saying? So if we was already here, then how do we allow stinking, nasty savages from Europe to come in here and colonize us? And you might want to relate that question to Crew, too.
Shabaka, stop asking questions and you're not going to give people time to answer the question. Look, they didn't colonize us fully, Shabaka. There's a whole civil war in Florida. They were getting their behinds whooped. The only reason why they supposedly colonized us is because we had active participants in the shit that was working on their behalf. Just like we have mugs working on the side of the British, we have people working on the side of the Confederates. Same thing, Shabaka. But that's another discussion for another time.
Okay.
They're black owners too.
Yeah, the Seminoles.
All right, man, 285.
No, I ain't talking about the Seminoles. I'm talking about black folks.
Yes.
Slave owners. I looked it up one day. I was like, damn, that many?
Yeah.
That's a lot. So I'm gonna give y'all the question, hypothetical question. Well, actually, it could be a real question or a hypothetical, how you want to look at it. I asked the brother one time if there was a black slave owner, would you consider them a colonizer?
Man, there wasn't no damn black slave owners, man. Come on, man. Now I'm out. This got redundant. Bye.
You look it up. You can look it up. I saw it on the news feed today. Yes, there were some black slave owners.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Love you, happiness.
That's all, y'all. I'm out.
Peace, y'all. All right, so this ended up going nowhere to a circular argument. But don't ask questions if you're not gonna give a person time to respond to the question. That's the moral of this story. So appreciate y'all tapping in. Join us tomorrow for season 5, episode. Damn, I can't remember the episode now. Oh shit! I want to say episode 22. Season 5, episode 22, part 1. I might be ahead. Either way, join us tomorrow for Front Line Blacc News. We'll see y'all then. Peace.